guys, how you doing? Today we are going to go out and prune some fruit trees. So come along. I've got a sidekick today. This is Layla. She's our 2-month-old little girl. So we're going to go prune some fruit trees. Come along for the ride.
Milk Mouse!
Welcome to our little permaculture orchard here. In front of us here we've got a 3-year-old little Honeycrisp apple tree, and basically we're going to tip back this tree a little bit. We have one inward growing branch that we're going to get rid of. So basically when you start any small tree like this, or any tree in general, the first limbs you want to take out is anything that's dead, and then any inward growing limbs, and then any limbs that are rubbing or crossing each other. So this tree really doesn't have it. It's kind of structured very well. It's missing a few branches here that we're hoping some of these buds will waken up and shoot out some new limbs. So basically we're just going to tip these branches back, all of them except the central leader here. And basically we're going to cut at a 45-degree angle at an outward growing bud, and I'll show you what those look like. So we'll just go along here and we'll tip all these limbs back. We want to make sure that we have balance in the tree. We don't want to tip back one side more than the other. We'll try to do this without poor Layla catching a limb in the face. So basically the reason why we're tipping these back as well is you can see that these limbs are pretty nimble. The diameter of them is not very thick. So as we tip back a limb, this entire bit of structure is going to thicken up. That way we don't have a long spindly tree with very unstable branches. So yeah, this tree, now that it's going to be its full first year, is gonna should go like lightning once it wakes up. And you know, pruning times basically towards the end of March for Nova Scotia. You want to get the tree before it wakes up. All these limbs and pieces of limbs that we're removing is going to have the amount of energy that's stored in the rootstock, or the root system, is going to have less tree to support now. So it's going to have an excess amount of energy, and that's what's going to allow this tree to really take off. So you can see here we actually have an inward growing limb. We'll take that out as well. We'll leave that little guy here. So that's really basically about it. There's not a whole heck of a lot. This tree is done really well when we planted it, so I don't need to take off too much more. In the future, if we want to do a modified central leader, we can come up here and cut this, and then it will shoot out a new branch. But basically for an apple tree, you kind of want just like a Christmas tree. So you have the tip of the tree, and as it goes down with the limbs, right? So opposed to the plums, which we'll be doing next, which we do our plums in an open vase pruning style. So that's that, guys. Here we are. So we have a damson plum here. As you can see, this is pruned a little bit different than the apple tree that we did. So this is pruned in a style called open vase. So as you can see, there's no main trunk in the middle. We came back and actually cut this off right in the center here. So there's no inward, we're not promoting inward growth. So believe it or not, these trees, with where they're at now, these are about six or so years old. When we first planted these trees, we came in, planted 1-year whips, and we literally cut the tree off at knee height. So it was just a little stick in the ground, and what that did is the canopy formed lower on the trunk. So now we're into a tree which, you know, you can pick the majority of it by hand. So the same thing we're going to do is if we have any inward growth, we're going to cut all that kind of stuff out, and the cuts here will be a bit more extreme than what we did on the last little guy. And we want to be a little bit careful here. We don't want to cut off all the fruiting wood, but like I say, any inward growth At the end of the day, what they say is you should be able to throw a cow through the center of a fruit tree. The more congested the tree is, the more opportunity for disease, fungal issues, and things like that. So same thing, if we have any branches that are also overlapping or rubbing against each other, we'll also cut all that stuff out. Any stuff really low down on the tree isn't going to get a heck of a lot of sunshine to begin with. I don't really want to cut those out, so I'll leave those ones alone. But this tree is looking actually quite good. There's a few inward growing pieces here that we'll take out, so there's not a whole heck of a lot of stuff to have to take off. Now with these trees as well, this tree doesn't seem to have it. Oh no, there is right there. Spoke too soon. If you find any black knot in the tree, you're going to want to get rid of that as soon as possible. It's will just spread all throughout the tree, and it's a real pain in the butt when it comes to plum trees. So that's one of the things that we battle here yearly on an annual basis. As you can see here on this tree, sometimes it does come on a terminal main branch, and basically I came in with a razor blade when this tree was really young and shaved that off, and this is the wound that's left from the tree. These trees don't tend to sucker very much, the type of rootstock. They're on myrobalan rootstock. We do have a couple little water shoots coming off the trunk there. Now you'll also notice we have like a tree band around here. So we'll wrap paper with some tape, and we actually put tanglefoot on the tree. And why we do that is plum trees have a real problem with aphids. Ants farm aphids. Ants actually bring them up into the tree. The aphids eat the foliage and secrete the sugary poop basically, and the ants feed off that, come back down the tree and take it to their nest. So the way we can get by aphids is with the actual physical barrier. So yeah, we wrap paper around the trunk with a little bit of tape, and then we put this goopy tar, organic tar called tanglefoot on here, and we apply that twice a season, and it keeps the little buggers out of the tree. So other than that, I'll go through the rest of the tree here and tip back some of the growth. There really isn't a whole heck of a lot to take off this tree. We did quite severe pruning on it last year. And this one, you know, in my opinion, this one, the structure-wise, has turned out really, really well. When I'm looking for the open vase types of trees, this is a perfect example of what we want. So now that I'm actually sitting here talking about this, I can see actually a major problem. We have two branches here that are rubbing against each other, and you know, once the foliage comes, this one branch here won't even get much sunlight. So we're actually going to take that guy out with a pair of pruners that is way too small for this.
Genius!
But maybe next video I'll be prepared with a proper set of loppers. We don't want to leave a big stump or anything. We're going to do our best to make sure little Layla doesn't get a stick in her face. There we go. So we'll take that guy right out of there. What was that? Oh. Oh, it's a fucking woodpecker.
Pecker!
So yeah, we'll take out any of this other growth that we don't necessarily want in the tree. This guy here as well can come out. That guy there can stay. So yeah, what we'll do, we'll go on to another larger tree, but basically I'm going to come in and I'll just tidy this up a little bit more, mainly focusing on just tipping some of these branches back. But like I say, this is not a good example of something that you need to heavily prune. We definitely, you know, certainly took out a decent sized branch, but that's not a whole heck of a lot more is gonna happen with this tree. So what we'll do, we'll actually go to a better example of a tree that we kind of, you know, when you have 85 or so trees, what we have right now, sometimes you miss a tree, sometimes you just don't get to it, and we'll show you an example of what happens if you don't, you know, stay on top of things and train and prune your tree properly. Hey, welcome back. Yeah, so hey guys, this is a perfect example, as you can see, if you let something go. This tree has a bit of black knot in it that we're going to want to come through, and I'm kind of just going to graze over these trees a little bit and just talk about this because at the end of the day we have this little one with and we don't want, you know, a branch falling off and catching her in the face or anything like that. So but as you can see, this thing has just gone wild. It's about, gosh, almost 20 feet tall, and the open vase side of things kind of went right out the window. So first things first, when dealing with a tree like this, which, you know, isn't the worst case scenario, but when dealing with a tree like this that you have to take out quite a bit of growth, you don't want to ever take out more than 1/3 of the growth. So the name of the game is never to let it get too far out of control, because you can only take out so much per year. And this one right now, just from looking at it, there's a big branch that we're going to take out right now, and it's actually wanting to be the main trunk, which is right here. So this one's wanting to compete up and go into basically what it looks like is a modified central leader, where the main trunk has been cut and then comes up again with new growth. So what we'll do is we're going to take that big one out first, and this will show you how dramatic or how extreme some of these cuts can be. And really, this one almost would warrant a pruning saw.
Once again, I'm a genius.
The diameter is just so large. We're gonna get it. So yeah, after the video, I'll go get a pruning saw where I'll actually tidy this up.
No, you won't.
Just to give you an idea of how large this branch and how large this cut actually is. It's quite severe. Now the other wonderful thing is we've got power lines right above us. So be careful that the tree isn't touching the power lines and electrocute yourself. So yeah, folks, there's you know, 1/3 of the tree right there. So yeah, we'll get rid of that guy. Like I say, I'll come back and tidy that up a little bit. But
Still lying.
right now, with where we're at, any inward growth, we're going to cut out. That'll be the first order of business. And as you can see now, there's quite a bit more space where it's going to allow light to come down into the tree. And tidying up the rest of these inward growing branches will also help with sunlight. And even with this tree here as well, there's quite a bit of spindly growth. I don't know if you guys can see that in the camera, but the very ends of these branches have about 2.5, some of them have about 3 feet of growth just from one season. So you can see why this can get out of control pretty darn quick. So what we'll do, I'll take off this little piece of black knot here, and as going through with these trees, every tree you want to sanitize your stuff with alcohol swabs. So this is actually a good example of black knot when it first starts forming. First it will look greenish, and then it will go to that light brown, and you can see here it's actually starting to go black. And basically it looks like, you know, your bad neighbor threw shit on your fruit tree. It's kind of what it looks like, but that black knot will actually girdle the tree, kill the cambium layer in the tree, and choke off the branch, essentially constricting the branch and killing it. So it is something that you do have to keep on top of, and you have to manage, because it will kill the tree. It will completely infest the tree. So in the video, I'm sure you're seeing I'm throwing the stuff on the ground. All this stuff has to be picked up and it has to be disposed of. There's still a lot more work, and like I say, I don't really necessarily want to get up in in the tree with a ladder. Time's a ticking. We got no time to wait. These fruit trees need to be pruned before they wake up. So yeah, we're gonna go through all these long limbs here, and we're gonna prune them back. Take off that excess growth, the 1 to 2 foot growth that came out on them. And you just want to be careful because we're up high on this ladder. We just don't want to go too far over.